Hey, hi, greetings of the day. This is Subramanian with yet another interesting video. Again, this video is related to foreign travel, how to see foreign travel using primary directions, and of course, solar return. As I said, this is a composite system where you will use both the natal chart, the solar return chart, and then look at the most recent primary directions and then try and predict. Of course, you can use the transits to further pinpoint the event or look at the same event in a different way. Maybe I'll make another video on that, but this video is primarily focused on using primary directions and solar returns. And when I say solar returns, it is basically the lord of the year, I mean perfected year lord, right? So with that background, I have also invested in slightly better audio equipment, and I'm actually using a mic this time because I got some feedback saying that the volume is not good enough, and people have to really use a headphone to listen in when they want to understand a particular video, right? That said, you will see two charts. The one on the left is the natal chart, and the chart on the right is the most recent solar return chart, because this person just a week back traveled to Southeast Asia. So basically out of India, abroad. So it's a ninth house travel, because any domestic travel that you typically do, that you do on a daily basis, a known route will typically fall in the third house, and any long distance travel or in general even a travel which is not a typical daily route travel will ideally fall in the ninth house. Now there are people with difference of opinion, but in this case, since we are clearly talking about foreign travel, it is a ninth house matter, and since the travel has already happened and the scribe has returned back, we have to definitely check if there are linkages to the ninth house. Okay. With that background, now let us see the directions, the primary directions that are active in and around this time. Okay. So most recent, if you see, I mean, let us look at sect light. Okay. This person is a day birth, and I think it is very easy. The sun is in the upper half, right? So since the sun is in the upper half, this is a diurnal chart, day birth, and hence sun is the sect light. And my guru always used to tell me, sect light also, directions of the sect light also gives a lot of important clues to events in one's life, right? So if you see the sun, right, the sect light sun is directed to or was directed to Venus, so the body of Venus. The sun was directed to the body of Venus. Hence, okay, Venus becomes an important promiser. Okay, Venus definitely becomes an important promiser. Apart from that, the scribe was born in 1981, and in 2025, minus 1981, right? So 44. So he has completed 44 years, and his 45th year is the running year, right? He's currently running the 45th year, and which basically means his ninth house is activated, right? His ninth house is activated because it is the 45th year, right? How did I say that? 45 minus 36, the nearest multiple of 12, 9. So it is the ninth sign from the ascendant sign, and the ninth sign from the ascendant sign is Libra, because his ascendant is Aquarius. So obviously, if Libra is the perfected sign, then Venus happens to be the perfected sign lord, or Venus happens to be the lord of the year. Okay. Now, since Venus is the lord of the year, obviously it is an important chronocrator. Apart from that, the sun, the significator sun, is also directed to the body of Venus. So Venus is a promiser, and Venus is also the lord of the year. So Venus becomes a very important chronocrater. And where is Venus? Venus is placed in the 9th house of the natal chart, right? Venus is placed in the 9th house of the natal chart. So definitely it is triggering 9th house related matters, being a benefic as well, and hence foreign travel is something that can be predicted, right? So we know that the native went abroad and came back. So yes, the 9th house is activated. Now let us look at additional clues. You just don't want to go with just one particular observation, although yes, Venus is a very important chronocrater, right? Now let us look at, okay, the ascendant is in the terms of Mars in Aries. The ascendant is directed to the terms of Mars in Aries. So terms of Mars in Aries, and the terms of Mars is basically 20 to 25 degrees. So the ascendant is basically 20 to 25 degrees Aries, the directed ascendant, which is somewhere here. Okay, it is 20 to 25 degrees Aries, right? Now, it is actually, and obviously I am not covering how I have determined the exact position of the directed ascendant, because it is in the range 20 to 25 degrees. But then, maybe in a future video I will cover, you can calculate the position using Morinus software. So, or that you can also do it using Placidus. So right now the ascendant is roughly directed to 22 degrees, 22 degrees of Aries. Just give me a minute, somebody at the door. Yeah, I'm back. So basically the ascendant is now directed to 22 degrees of Aries, and if you see, pretty much, a separating opposition of Mars falls in the directed ascendant. Okay, so because in the solar return chart the Mars is at 23 degrees of Libra, so there is an opposition of Mars falling into the directed ascendant. So this is obviously going to cause some issues. It could be health related, it could be irritation, it could be Martian stuff, right? And honestly, the scribe is feeling those effects. There is a lot of worries, anxiety. He's feeling pretty irritated, sometimes angry, sometimes sick. So definitely, it's so far nothing significant, but yes, it is definitely spoiling his mental peace of mind. So the opposition of Mars is definitely showing its effect at this juncture. It is causing him irritation, it is causing him a lot of worries, uncertainty, irritation, self-doubt, a ton of things, right? That's the way I look at it. Okay, now as I said, keeping that thing apart, the ascendant is directed to the terms of Mars. Now what is Mars? Mars is the natal 9th lord. So again there is a 9th house connection, right? The ascendant is directed to the terms of Mars, and Mars is the natal 9th lord, right? Right. Another thing is, if you really superimpose the divisor Mars, right, 23 degrees of Libra actually falls here somewhere in the, if you map it, it lands in the natal 8th house. So this is where 23 degrees of Mars would fall roughly, right? Because the 23 degrees of Libra will be somewhere here. Somewhere here. So basically, it falls in the 8th house of the natal chart. And obviously, as I said, apart from the solar return Mars, opposing the directed ascendant, it is also somewhere getting mapped to the natal 8th house. And obviously, due to that, it is causing a lot of anxiety, worries, and many of the 8th house related matters, sort of health troubles, and to some extent, a lot of issues, right? And Mars, the same Mars, is also conjunct Mercury, and Mercury happens to be the fourth lord. Mercury also happens to be the natal fifth lord. So yeah, so it could be also troubles related to fifth house matters, troubles related to fourth house matters. So yeah, I mean, doesn't look great, but yeah, but right now this video is more focused on foreign travel. So yeah, but as I said, Mars also happens to be the ninth lord, and hence yes, it can give travel. Okay, now let us look at one more angle, apart from this, right? Uh, the moon, okay, the most recent direction, if you see, almost like end of 2024, was the moon was directed to a sextile of Saturn. So Saturn becomes another important promiser. Okay, now let us look at Saturn. Whether Saturn has any connection with ninth house. So yes, Saturn is placed in the ninth house of the solar return chart. Of course, it is quite close to the cusp of the 10th house, and again, due to Saturn being very close to the 10th house cusp, though it's going to take a long time to reach that cusp for sure, but you might consider that it will still have some effects because it is still in the same sign as the 10th house cusp, uh, around like 5 to 6 degrees range, because it is at 2 degrees and the 10th house cusp is at 8 degrees, right? So it is not like very far, but yes, Saturn typically stays in 1 degree for 6 months or a couple of months. So yeah, you can still consider Saturn is in the ninth house. So yes, again a ninth house connection. But if you don't want to look at it that way, then just wanted to bring this to your notice, and let me just rub to make things more easy. Yeah, so if you see, right, so Saturn is 2 degrees Pisces, and the ninth house cusp, right, the ninth house cusp is 0 degrees, sorry, 1 degree of Scorpio. So Saturn pretty much is trining the ninth house cusp. The solar return Saturn trines the ninth house cusp. And the reason we are taking Saturn is because Saturn is a promiser, because the most recent direction is the moon is directed to a sextile of Saturn, and Saturn obviously here is trining the ninth house cusp. So another ninth house connection, right? So I would say these are some strong points where you will see a lot of ninth house related matters surfacing, and obviously this person right now is not of an age where he's going to study further, but yeah, maybe he's also considering taking up some technical certifications stuff, which is a kind of higher studies to some extent. I mean, if one may think about it, but yes, a lot of and yes, ninth house is also with religious spiritual stuff. So he also traveled a couple of months back to some spiritual destination, and again in the month of June he is planning to go to some spiritual destination. So ninth house having connection with the religion, temples, spiritual destinations, even that is coming into play. So yes, overall I would say a ninth house here, and I mean, another thing that I wanted to point out, is the directed MC. So we spoke about directed ascendant, and directed ascendant is somewhere around 22 degrees of Aries, directed ascendant. But you also have directed MC, okay? And directed MC is actually in around 11 degrees and 30 minutes of Capricorn, and that again coincides with the 8th house of the solar return chart. So obviously MC connection with the 8th house in the return chart is going to cause some anxiety around the work area. I mean, a lot of issues, or maybe some kind of fear, anxiety related to work, and this person is experiencing such kind of fear, worries related to job insecurities and all that stuff. But also good thing is the Venus, right? Venus is the lord of the year, and Venus in the solar return chart is at 11 degrees and is actually trining the directed MC. So Venus trining the directed MC is somehow a good I would say a kind of combination, and maybe that is going to help a bit. And apart from that, if you see the MC Lord or the 10th Lord is exalted in the first house of the solar return chart. So although there are some issues related to MC, there are also some good, I would say, positive side, like the Lord of the MC, or the MC being the the Jupiter being the radix MC Lord is in the first house of the solar return chart and exalted, and also you have the you have Venus trining the directed MC. So there are some I would say good points as well as far as influences to the MC is concerned. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I've made this video after a very long time, been very busy for the last couple of months, but I hope to soon get back on track. I hope you liked this video. Let me know, and I'll again create one more video where I will try and show the same events using double transits of Jupiter and Saturn. Thank you, and continue to have a nice weekend. Bye.